Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about, is this a good time to come out to the Philippines? How restrictive is it? Is it easy to travel? Is it worth coming out to the Philippines at this point in time? Stick around. Okay guys, so I'm sitting out here in the hot sun. I came out here to a coffee shop. I'll show you real quick here. This coffee shop is here in Davao. It is at a place called MTS. And MTS is called Matina Times Square. And it's a place where they have live music. They have restaurants and bars are open and everything's back to normal. My friend was here last night and things were hopping. He sent me a video and I will show that to you right now. So a lot of people were asking me, is this a good time to come out to the Philippines? Is this a good time to come out to the Philippines? How restrictive is the travel? You know, I don't want to wear a face mask, and I'm getting all these messages, so I thought I would address this a little bit. And actually, I came out here to grab something to eat at this coffee shop, but apparently it's only open at night, which makes sense. This place, based on what my friend sent me, was just packed. And I've been here before a couple years ago and it was just packed and live music, and it's a happening place. There is nightlife in Davao. Contrary to belief, a lot of people think there's not a lot of nightlife in Davao, but there is. This coffee shop is surrounded by like a little moat, which is kind of cool, and it's got koi fish and stuff in it, and pretty cool place. But behind me there is a big, huge stage and live music and the restaurants and bars and stuff like that. So it's a really cool place. At the entrance of it, there's like fast food, Jollibee, McDonald's, things like that. And that part I think is open during the day. The rest of it's just open at night. Okay, so number one, is this a good time? Okay, we have now, it opened February 10th. It is basically about 1 month now. And so now, based on everything I know, about 90% of the people have had no problems extending their stay here at the Bureau of Immigration. I've had a couple of people who said there was a couple offices that had said, no, we're not doing it at this time. And they simply went to a different Bureau of Immigration office and had no problem. So far, 100% of the people that I know have had no problem extending, with the few cases of a couple who had to go to a different office, but that was just a few, but the majority had no problems whatsoever. The other thing is, nobody asked for any travel insurance covering COVID after they extended, once they extended. They only needed it once they came into the Philippines. Now, I'm not telling you to drop it. I'm just telling you that they haven't asked for it. What you do is up to you. The Philippines is asking for it. They want the minimum 35,000 coverage that covers COVID. The one I recommend is down in my description. It will also be pinned in the comment section as well, which is the one that I use as my own, and that a lot of people have signed up for as well and have had no problems with it. So coming out, still the same requirements. RT-PCR test 48 hours before departure. Download the Trace app, Traze, which I don't think I know anybody who's even been asked for it. And have the insurance, 35,000 minimum, that covers COVID. OneHealthPass.ph is the website where you upload all your stuff. And of course, you have to have your vaccine, booster shot, unnecessary, and it has to be from CDC or the WHO. Then you upload that all into One Health Pass, and then you're on your way. Now, I have flown around now quite a bit domestically, and nobody has asked for anything other than my ID and the boarding pass. I haven't had to do PCR tests going from island to island. I haven't been asked for any kind of trace app, insurance, nothing like that whatsoever. So travel domestically once you're here is very easy. So that's not a problem. It seems like every place is going to level 1. Davao here is much more relaxed. When it went from level 2 to level 1, we got rid of these plastic dividers that were on the tables that were separating even a husband and wife who went out for a cup of coffee together. They'd be divided by a plastic divider at some restaurants and some coffee shops, and that is gone. No longer are security trying to control the traffic on people walking in the mall. They didn't want people crowding together, so they made sure you were people walking to the right and people were walking to the left. I'm going to change my position a little bit, give you a little bit of a different view as well. So yeah, that has been good, and a lot of people have been reporting that. And you'll see from the video that I showed earlier, once you're at an establishment and you're having some kind of a drink, or you're at a restaurant and you're sitting down, masks come off, and it's good. And there was even a bar right next to my house that I went out to the pharmacy last night. I had a headache, went out, and there was a bar that was overflowed into the street. They actually put tables out. I'll throw a picture up. I took a picture. And they had, nobody had masks on. There was no social distancing. Everybody was having a good time, music, but the tables, I thought was interesting. The bar spilled out onto the street, and they set up tables and everything outside into the parking lot, which is kind of unique. I'm sweating like crazy, guys. It is hot out here today. Again, I thought I was going to be coming to a coffee shop that was open, so I will go to another place for lunch. This is what I had planned on for lunch, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to Cebu. By the time you watch this video, I'll probably be in Cebu. I'm only going to be there for a few days to meet with friends coming in from the States. And Cebu is still technically at level 2, but they have become much less restrictive as well, thanks to the governor in part in Cebu there. Okay, so back to masks. If you are coming from a country where you're not wearing masks anymore and you absolutely hate it, then you probably aren't going to enjoy Cebu or any place in the Philippines initially, because everywhere you go, outside, inside, malls, whatever, you have to have a mask on. The only time you don't have to have a mask on is if you're in your car, if you're at a restaurant or a place where you're having some kind of a drink. You know, you go for a mango smoothie, you go for a beer, you go for food, mask comes off, you can sit and hang out with all your friends and sit there pretty much all day, or enjoy live music and have a beer, and no problem with no mask. But if you're going to the mall, you're going to walk around, you're going to go outside, I have had friends who have been fined for not wearing a mask. So if that's a big deal to you, then that's going to be a game changer for some people. Masks are still going to be in place. I don't know how long, but it's going to be in place for a while. I would imagine that the first thing that happens in the Philippines is they probably will say, okay, no more masks outside. And if you're going on inside, like a mall or some kind of facility, then you have to put your mask on. That's my guess on what will probably happen first. We'll see. So, you know, we've talked about masks, we talked about extensions and the health insurance, we talked about domestic travel. I think we've really pretty much covered it, but everything seems to be open again. Everything is up and running. You want to go to waterfalls, you want nature, you want to go to a disco, you want to go to a bar, all that stuff is open now. And, you know, once you're in a disco or you're in a bar or whatever and you're having a drink, there is no mask. So, I mean, you can come out here now and have a great time. You can. I would tell people that this is probably now the time to come, because there's still less crowds. The majority of the people that have come back into the Philippines right now, a lot of them have been spouses. A lot of them have been coming to see their girlfriends or fiancés or what have you. And so the tourist attractions aren't overwhelmed yet. It's still very low. It's still very enjoyable. So now is probably a really good time to come out, you know, in my opinion. Because I think probably in a few months it's going to get even less restrictive and more people are going to come out. But in my opinion, it is pretty relaxed now. It is pretty relaxed. One last different angle, and I'm going to take off and I'm going to go get some lunch. But yeah, guys, this is MTS, Matina Times Square. And a lot of people had mentioned that there's not really nightlife here. And I disagree. You got MTS, you got a big bar district with live music. And then by my house, there's a bar with music. And so there's a dance club here in Davao, a couple that I know of. I think it's called Echelon. If that's your thing, you know, that's at the top in the Gaisano Mall here. But yeah, that seems to be a misconception that if you want nightlife, you want to be in Manila and Cebu. Yes, but they do have nightlife here, and you can enjoy it here. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm not into drinking. I do like live music, but I'd prefer to be with my girl, you know, to go listen to live music. I don't want to go, it's not something I really want to go do with buddies so much. I prefer it to be more like a date. So anyway, if you guys have questions, comments about domestic travel here, requirements coming out here, any of that, comment down below. We'll have that discussion with myself and others. And I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.